morning, neighbors and everyone. So today we're going to look over my Ram 1500 and talk about how it did. I just got back from a 400-mile road trip, and I want to go over gas mileage and ride quality and how it went. So let's hop in. All right, so 365 miles, averaging 6.1 miles per gallon, or 16.1, my bad. So there you have it. Over 367 miles, I averaged 16.1 miles per gallon. I would say about 90% of that driving was on the interstate. So I was going anywhere from, 70 to 80 miles an hour. So I was cruising pretty fast. And let me share with you how over that 90% of driving at 70 to 80 miles an hour, how I got that 16.1 miles per gallon average. So this was a really good test here. Usually when I go on longer road trips, I'm either A, picking up a vehicle, B, picking up a piece of equipment, or C, hauling stuff someplace to get fixed. So this was a nice test just with the truck on how it it managed its fuel. So first things first, I want to go over some of the modifications that my truck has that makes it, in my opinion, better than a normal Ram 1500. So first things first, this has the air suspension. It is level. So I have it leveled. It's about a half-inch difference, and it truly does level the truck. Next thing, I have a Gibson Performance exhaust on the back of the truck. So that adds to the noise of the truck and the breathability of the truck. I do have a K&N cold air intake with the truck as well. I added that, and I added some BF Goodrich TAKO2s on the truck. So those are kind of all of the with fuel rims. So this truck is a little bit modified from stock, and it's causing the fuel economy to go down, which I am okay with. I do have a Chevy Volt as well that I usually drive for my daily commutes. This is more of the road trip or kind of the work truck, although I do not treat this like a work truck. It looks brand new on the inside. Interestingly enough, I did pass over on 80,000 miles on this trip as well, which I've owned this truck for almost 3 years now. So it's amazing to me that now I have owned this truck for 80,000 miles. I did buy this used as well. So it's a great truck. We'll put it that way. And yeah, the gas mileage sucks, but this is what I have to say. It's like you're buying a truck, so you expect your gas mileage to be bad. You're buying a V8 big heavy steel truck, so it's going to be bad. With that being said, this truck is probably the perfect road trip vehicle. There is space galore. I mean, it's amazing how much space there is. You've got all the room in the world for any golf clubs or suitcases or any sort of luggage that you have in the bed of the truck. And if you have a tonneau cover, everything relatively stays dry, comparing, something without an open or a closed tonneau cover top. And you've got all the luxuries in the world in this Ram truck specifically. I've got my heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, memory seat here, auto parking, adaptive cruise control, lane centering, huge display, comfortable bucket seats. I mean, it's storage galore. It's really the perfect road trip truck. And it's relatively smooth too with this air suspension. So that's one thing I did notice when I made the modifications, and I've done this to my prior Ram trucks too. When you add some of these modifications like the leveling kit or big meaty tires, excuse me, that can negatively affect the ride. And it does here, but it's still not harsh. We'll put it that way. It's better than any other truck basically on the road, because this has air suspension and it has the four corner coil suspension. So that makes it drive a little bit better. But here we go with some exhaust. The truck sounds great, and that probably doesn't help the gas mileage when you're merging onto interstates at a high speed. You tend to step on the gas a little bit, so that probably doesn't help with the gas mileage either. But 16.1, I'm not overly sad about that. I guess the weather was hot and humid, so the truck was working pretty darn hard with the AC and everything else, so that definitely negatively affected it. But temperature stayed cool, and everything was fine. One thing I do have to say that makes driving a lot easier is the adaptive cruise control option. So when I buy vehicles, I always try to make sure, unless it's an older classic, that they have adaptive cruise control, because when you're driving specifically on an interstate or on a highway for a long time, you want that hands-free adaptive cruise control, or you want that lane centering to keep you in place and essentially make driving less of a pain and less of a headache. Now, don't get me wrong, I love to drive. I have a few SRT vehicles, and my girlfriend has a AMG GLE, so I love to drive. But when I'm on road trips, this is our road trip vehicle. The truck is always a road trip vehicle. It's the safest for any sort of inclement weather that may happen. It's the most comfortable. It's the largest, and it's got a lot of good features in here to keep you essentially happy. And any truck or vehicle like that we purchase, it has to have adaptive cruise control and lane centering, just because of the safety of it is great, but because the ease of driving is just so much better that way. And I appreciate that a lot, especially in this